Hi, everyone. So, for this week's topic, I decided to focus on what is the intelligence community and how one of their failures led to a huge transformation in the international community. The American international community was born in 1947 with the passage of the National Security Act. The intelligence community is made up of a group of agencies and organizations that work separately and together to engage in intelligence activities necessary to conduct foreign relations and protections of the national security of the United States. It's made up of 100,000 military and civilian U.S. government personnel, and roughly 20,000 work as analysts, in which all entities differ in missions. What led the United States in having an international community? The experiences of the Pearl Harbor, World War II, and later the Cold War shaped the views on how intelligence would support the United States defense and foreign policy. Unfortunately, intelligence agencies will forever be scarred with the failure in connecting the dots and detecting the September 11 plot. But even after bin Laden spoke on Al Qaeda's plans against America, nobody lifted a finger. It wasn't until 1986 that the CIA set up a unit known as Alex Station to track down bin Laden. But why would the CIA and the FBI ignore repeated warnings that hijackers might strike the United States? It wasn't until the two bombings of the United States embassies in Kenya and Tanzania in 1998 that the Americans highly suspected that Yusuf and others had ties to Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda members. After the attacks on 9/11, the country tried to understand how these attacks went undetected, which led for the spotlight to be focused on the international intelligence community. Some argue that the IC was still operating in a Cold War mindset, focused on threats from national states. Others argue that the international intelligence agencies refused to collaborate and were apprehensive to change. This was a lesson learned to America. However, moving forward, the United States changed their way they approached terrorism. New agencies were created, such as the Department of Homeland Security. The National Counterterrorism Center was created. The committee also worked on the Safe Port Act of 2006, which strengthened the security of the nation's ports. Congress also passed the Intelligence Reform and Terrorism Prevention Act of 2004, which created the ODNI. Their core mission was to lead the IC and intelligence effectively, operating as one team by synchronizing collection analysts and counterintelligence so that they're all combined. The creation of the ODNI after 9/11 was the latest, most serious effort for transformation of the intelligence community. It was the attacks of September 11 that finally moved forward and established need for major intelligence change and creation of the Director of National Intelligence. And if this attack was prevented, history might have probably taken a different turn. Thank you all for listening.